Good morning, everyone. My name is Dan Lopez. I am currently a sports performance intern at Eastern Michigan University under Ron McKeefrey. Today I'm going to be discussing with you carb backloading and its utilization in collegiate football. Next slide, please. So just a quick little about me. Grew up locally, went to Saline High School. At Saline, I was a two-sport athlete. I played football and lacrosse. After that, I did my undergrad at Central Michigan University. There I played 2 years of lacrosse, which afterwards I then transitioned into more combative sports, so jiu-jitsu, MMA. So just a little about me. Next slide. So just general outline of what we're going to go over today. So a little background of what carb backloading is, pretty much carb backloading in a nutshell. The simplest way to implement it, or how you would implement it, a case study showing its effectiveness, some potential pitfalls that could occur from utilizing it, just an additional source that you can look on after for some additional information, and then we'll have a brief discussion. Next slide. So, brief background. Carb backloading was kind of created by John Kiefer. He has a BA in mathematics and physics and a master's in physics as well. He's an advisor for Muscle and Fitness, Men's Fitness magazines. Primarily, carb backloading has been used quite effectively with more of your bodybuilding, physique, bikini type competitors. Next slide, please. So, carb backloading in a nutshell is a dietary guideline where you can decrease body fat, increase muscular strength, and increase muscular hypertrophy all at the same time. Normally, general thinking has said that you can do one primarily well, and the other ones you can hit somewhat well, but not as effectively. While utilizing this, though, there has been shown significant increases, or maintaining your strength while decreasing body fat percentage, and also increasing size. Next slide, please. So, simplest way I can describe how to implement this. So, main idea is you wake up in the morning. You push your breakfast back to later in the afternoon, so you're shifting all your calories to later in the day. Main idea is no carbs for the first half of the day. It's literally high-fat, high-protein diet. The reasoning behind this is that when we wake up in the morning in a fasted state, our bodies are primed and ready to utilize our fat stores as its fuel source. So by pushing our calories back in the day, we are making our bodies kind of telling it, like, you have your fat stores, let's use this, let's not. So whatever we're bringing in, we're not going to use that as our fuel, we're just going to use what we got already. So yeah, continuing on with that, you want to keep carbs to the absolute minimum you can throughout the day. And the main idea is doing heavy lifting. You want to train, best case scenario, you do it later in the afternoon / evening, so around 4 or 6 o'clock would be the best time. And then the main focus afterwards is that you want to bring in all your carbs approximately 30 minutes after working out. The main idea with this is that we're flooding the body with carbohydrates, which in turn is, so from earlier in the day, we're essentially depleting our glycogen stores from our muscles. So while ingesting our carbs after working out, we're essentially, instead of it getting stored as fat, it is being utilized by the muscle to replenish glycogen stores. Next slide, please. So, and yeah, the main idea is the majority of your calories should come at the end of the night. So, you know, when you go to sleep, you have that long fasted state from rest to when you wake up in the morning. So you want to make sure your body has all the fuel it needs to kind of build itself up overnight. Next slide. So, case study. Jason Mayo, he's a head strength and conditioning coach for the University of Richmond. He actually contacted John Kiefer and asked him to kind of build a program for him that he could use to kind of help bring his body back down to an athletic, pretty much an athletic looking body. Next slide. So, now the one problem with the Mayo's program is that he was unable to train later in the afternoon, which is not a big deal. You can still make it work. So just main thing, this is kind of a run through of his meals for the day. So he wakes up at 6 a.m., coffee in the morning. Main idea with the coffee is that there is a compound within the coffee that helps kind of stave off the the hunger urges. So it kind of helps keep you even up until you have breakfast. Then later on, he would have breakfast right around noon, 6 eggs, half a pound of bacon. Sounds like a delicious meal, if I do say so myself. And then same thing, just keeps going later on in the day. Lunchtime, he's having a hamburger patty, mustard, slice of cheese. So still, no carbs whatsoever. He's keeping it protein and fat. And then 7 to 8 o'clock, later in the day, when his body's completely depleted of glycogen, he throws in the carbs. So pizza, Wendy's, all this good stuff. Now, generally, they refer to it as junk food that you want to consume, but junk food in the sense that you want it the least amount processed as possible. So pizza, preferably from a Domino's, or something that's cooked. You don't want the frozen kind on the cardboard. You want it as close or as far away from processed as possible. And same thing, the carbohydrates, flooding it with the system, helping it replenish the glycogen stores. Next slide. So just a little rundown of the results he had. So starting out, just skin fold measurements. He started out pretty basic. The main thing that you notice from his skin fold measurements, they pretty much stay the same throughout the entire process. The one main difference is that all his measurements were decreasing from his abdomen. So he's primarily losing abdominal fat. Next slide. So same thing, just kind of showing his weight starting out, body fat percentage, slowly decreasing weight while decreasing body fat percentage, and increasing lean body weight. Next slide. And then this was just a little bit of showing his PRs pre and post test. So, not bad numbers starting out, but made significant jumps from beginning to end utilizing the diet. Next slide. So, a couple potential pitfalls. So you would think something like this, telling you're utilizing it with football players, it sounds like, hey, whatever you do, don't eat carbs beginning of the day. If you do this, after you've worked out, you can have pizza, you can have fresh baked cookies, all that kind of stuff. You would think that would be the easiest thing in the world to implement. But, college kids not always the most disciplined. Sometimes they get distracted by everyday life, what's in front of them. So that's one potential pitfall. Another is, I didn't touch on it, but another way that you can kind of help move the diet along is there's different supplements you can take, mainly creatine, leucine, a couple other ones. So compliance with NCAA standards, just making sure we're not conflicting with those. And then another potential pitfall is long-term sustainability, whether or not this is something that you can do long-term while maintaining good health. So some potential pitfalls. Next slide. So additional resource, this was a video that on YouTube, Kiefer was pretty much doing a Q&A with Lifetime Fitness, answering a bunch of questions. Primarily, he was focusing on carb backloading as it applies to women, because with obviously female athletes, their bodies work completely different, so you have to change it up quite differently. But he does touch on some good points within it that is applicable to males and male athletes. Next slide. So, quick show of hands, just based on the small snip of information I've given you, who thinks that this